Welcome back to Bible Basics. In this video, we're looking at the book of Acts. And the reason why I'm so excited about this video is because Acts really captures that beginning spark of the movement of Christianity and how it exploded. And as historians say, it turned the world upside down. And so let's dive into the book of Acts. Now, Acts is in the New Testament, and it's kind of in a category of its own because it really is a historical book about the beginning of the history and movement of the early church. So this is after Jesus' resurrection, after he goes back into heaven and says, hey guys, it's up to you. That's what he tells the disciples, that they have a mission to be on, which is to see people saved and become disciples of Jesus. Now, Acts was written by Luke, the same man that wrote the Gospel of Luke, and he's a physician that put together all of these accounts of Jesus' life and then the movement and beginning of the early church. And so you can really think of Luke as part one and Acts as part two. So if you wanted to, you could read through Luke and jump into Acts immediately after that. It's kind of like a sequel and you won't skip a beat. It's kind of like one whole story. And I encourage you to do that at some point. If you're looking for a new book to start and you haven't read one of the Gospels lately, start in Luke and then read through Acts. And I think you'll be really encouraged and blessed by doing that. Now, one of my favorite things to study in the book of Acts is really about a man named Saul. Now, Saul was a Pharisee, and it really says that he was a Pharisee of Pharisees. And what that means is that he was kind of a top dog in this religious order. And the Pharisees didn't like Christianity because Jesus challenged their power and came in and said, hey, you guys are doing a lot of hypocritical stuff. I'm the Son of God. I've come to reunite us and to fix the sin problem, to save humanity. And the religious leaders of Jesus' time are really the ones that put him on the cross, which is absolutely crazy to think about. But I kind of see that in today's world. A lot of times if you ask people that have had bad experiences at church or people that know Christians in general, you'll hear that Christians are oftentimes the most judgmental and hate-filled people that others come in contact with. And so we always have to push back against that because sometimes we get comfortable in our religion and we stop pursuing Jesus because we've created this religion with all these different check boxes that we can check off and feel more holy than other people. And we've got to be careful because that's what the Pharisees did, and it did not turn out well for them, because the truth is that Jesus came because we're all broken. And if we start and stay at that point where we acknowledge the fact that we're all broken before God, we've all fallen short, we all deserve eternity away from God, but thank God for Jesus that he came and saved us. If we keep that at the forefront of our minds, there is no room for being self-righteous. There's no room for being judgmental or hateful towards certain people or people that look differently or believe differently than us, because we're all on the same playing field. The only thing that separates me from somebody that doesn't know Jesus yet is Jesus. Nothing that I've done, nothing that I could ever do. It's solely because of the cross and the sacrifice of Jesus. And so if we keep that in the forefront of our minds, we will not be judgmental, we will not be hateful, we'll always be gracious and loving towards all people. Now, let's jump back in. I kind of went on a rabbit hole there, but I think it's good stuff. So let's jump back in. So Saul, he's a Pharisee of Pharisees, and he's super upset and angry with this movement of Christianity because he doesn't think that it's legitimate. He thinks that it's all just a lie. And so he actively tries to persecute the early church, and he's actively approving of Christians being martyred or murdered for their faith. And so really he is what we could refer to as a modern day terrorist. And he actively sought out Christians to persecute or to see martyred for their faith. Now what happens is he has this crazy encounter with Jesus on the road to a city called Damascus. And the Bible says that on this journey to Damascus that he actually encounters the presence of Jesus, and it leaves him blinded. And he actually has to go while he's blind and seek out this certain believer. And then after that, God heals him of his blindness and he gives his life to Jesus. He becomes a Christian and he is given a new name, which is Paul. Now, the reason why all of this is so significant is because God takes someone who was his enemy and makes him a missionary. And a lot of the rest of the New Testament, the books that we're going to be looking at, are actually letters written by Paul to the early churches. Paul becomes a missionary and a church planter and makes his way around most of the known world at the time, preaching the gospel of Jesus and that salvation is found by grace alone, through faith alone in Jesus. And you see that the whole world was turned upside down because really of the entire movement and people of God, but you see really the story of Paul jump out at you. And I want to be used like that. And if God can use an ex-terrorist in big ways, I know that he can use me too, and he can use you. So thank you so much for watching this video. I can't wait to see you for the future videos. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, jump down in the comments and let me know. Join the community. Let's be putting positivity out there. Let's be pointing people to Jesus and not away from Jesus with our lives and how we live our lives. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. You can hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any of the future videos that are uploaded and the content that's coming to this channel. I'll see you for the next one. Peace out.